What's up, buddy? How you doing? How you feeling? Wow, what a day. This is a crazy story. This is crazy. This is crazy for a number of reasons. Guys, we're a channel, we've talked about Star Wars, right? We love the classic Star Wars. We love a good science fiction story. And another person who loves the Star Wars, apparently, or at least was interested in the Star Wars, was Zach Snyder, who at one point pitched a Star Wars movie to Lucasfilm. Now, we've talked about Zach Snyder on this channel. I have a big video about his DC movies. And I'll say this, his movies are complete narrative clusterfucks. The plots don't make sense. The stories are bad. But he has a certain visual flair that I do like. I like the way his movies look. I like the shots he sets up. Some people say, oh, his movies are all moments. There's no plot. Well, the moments look really good. Maybe he's got to find a better balance. I don't know. So the idea that he was going to do a Star Wars movie, again, they turned him down, somehow went over to Netflix and said, listen, I got a great idea. I wrote it as a Star Wars movie, but I think it could be easily repurposed into its own franchise. Which is exciting. We like new franchises, guys. We support that here on this channel. And Netflix said, yes, let us fund your big budget sci-fi movie. Let us fund. You can even see here, they almost got lightsabers. Here's a lady. I don't know what these are. You got space Nazis right there. There's the Empire. Okay, this is a Netflix funded production. And we've had our screenings. Screenings have happened. This will be getting a limited release in theaters, I believe, at which point, and then, again, a Netflix exclusive. So I guess I'll get to watch this movie. Thankfully, I don't have to pay for it. I just have to pay for Netflix. Because, I don't know the last time I saw this. I don't know if I've ever seen this. We're going to take a look. Guys, hit that subscribe button. Here's what's blowing my mind. Rebel Moon, Part 1, over on Rotten Tomatoes. This is very bad. 28%. That's very bad. It's a very bad score. But it gets infinitely worse. Scraps, can you please? Oh, God. You have terrible timing, Scraps. I just started making a video. You get off of my desk. No one wants to see your butthole. All right. So here's what I always say about Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are stupid bloggers, idiots with websites. I know kids whose scores are on the part of the Rotten Tomatoes score. And those kids are idiots and morons. Okay, again, they just start like a film blog or a decent YouTube channel, and their score is included in the score. Their review is part of the total. But if you know your way around Rotten Tomatoes, you know there's a top critic score. This is the score I trust, because these are guys who have been doing it their whole lives. They're working for reputable publications. They work for, big time magazines. They work for newspapers, Chicago Sun-Times, whatever else. These are like your Roger Eberts of the world. Okay, so 28% from the bloggers and the morons and the freaks. Click on that, and then what do we have? We have 9 fresh reviews. 9 people liked it. 23 rotten reviews. Let's see how many of the top critics liked it. Come on! What the fuck? 0%! 0! None of them. Not a single reputable critic likes this movie. That's a fucking disaster. That's 0 fucking percent. I'm sorry to swear. I shouldn't swear. 0%. Now, we're going to take a look at a few of these reviews. We're going to find out what went wrong, because this is fast. This is fast. Again, guys, we're talking about a huge movie. Netflix, do we have a estimated budget here? $166 million. Look, it's cheaper than making an actual Star Wars film, but in terms of a Netflix film, they don't normally just hand out $166 million unless they think they got a winner on their hands. $166 million in Netflix dollars are being pissed down the drain. This is not going to create new Netflix subscribers with a 0%. Oh my God, what a nightmare. Let's take a look at some. I do real quick. Let's cover the backstory. Again, began development as a Star Wars film. He pitched to Lucasfilm. That was right after Lucasfilm was sold to Walt Disney. So I guess they bought it. He said, here's my Star Wars film. It was to be a more mature take on Star Wars. Also pitched the idea as a video game and a film to Warner Brothers Pictures a couple times. So everybody just passed on this. And right now, I'll tell you who's feeling smart. Lucasfilm is feeling smart. Warner Brothers is feeling smart. They're going, oh, thank God we didn't give Zack Snyder $166 million. Thank God. Netflix, not feeling smart. Feeling bad. Let's take a look at these reviews. I think one of the worst parts of this is the fact that it's called Rebel Moon Part 1. Never do that. Why do that? Don't call your movie Part 1 because the movie might be a complete train wreck and then you ain't making Part 2. All right, here we go. We're on RogerEbert.com. This is from Simon Abrams. Let's take a look at what he has to say. Now, here's something I didn't realize. As this reviewer says, after 133 minutes, Snyder's latest gang of misfits are finally ready to fight space Nazis. So this is a 2-hour, 13-minute movie where they don't actually end up fighting the Empire. You gotta wait for Part 2. What a disaster. Is Part 2 already shot? My God. Imagine watching the original Star Wars movie and they go, okay, and now it's time to launch our attack on the Death Star. And then it says to be continued. Oh, why do these writers, they let these projects get so out of hand? Why do you, 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 13 minutes, whatever it is enough time to tell a complete story. Drives me nuts. Now, Snyder has 2 credited co-writers, Shay Haddon and Kurt Johnstad. I think both of these guys have worked on John Wick 4. One of them worked on Army of the Dead from Snyder, which was okay, not great. And this guy says Rebel Moon often looks more like an animated pitch for a movie rather than an actual movie. That's been a big thing we hear about Zack Snyder's work. Again, a lot of people give him this criticism of he's great at making this big moments that do feel pulled from the storyboard. Very cool, dramatic moments with great lighting, great colors, and whatever else. But as usual, Snyder doesn't care about his characters so much as he likes their style guide features. Cleavage, haircuts, cool accents. Some actors dig in, but not everyone fares as well, with dialogue that never stops expositing, even as matte painting replica landscape shots threaten to swallow up whoever's pushing the plot this time around. So apparently, a lot of dumb expository dialogue that is not going to be taken very well. Some critics will joke Rebel Moon resembles AI art. That's not good. This is not, again, with this stupid cliffhanger ending. I did not know it was going to have a cliffhanger ending. Why would you want to go into a 2-hour Star Wars movie and know that you're not going to get a satisfying ending? Okay, yes, Empire Strikes Back, you can do that, but the first Star Wars movie out the gate, I want to see a Death Star blow up. Here's the Independent that really digs in. This is Clarissa Longney, who says, Zack Snyder's Netflix epic is a borderline incoherent shambles. You mean is that correct? Grammar? I need to revisit that headline unless I'm reading it incorrectly. As she says, Rebel Moon, Child of Fire is Zack Snyder's promise for a more mature take on Star Wars. Unfortunately, it's more Star Wars for people who think those movies are too political and don't have enough sexual violence. Well, I don't know, that sounds good to me. I could use a little sexual violence in my Star Wars. So we're going to have a little bit of a spoiler here, but I guess this whole first movie is that this woman, Cora, an immigrant whose history leads back to the Empire, decides to fight back against the evil Empire. Then her and her comrade go around the galaxy collecting people for the cause. So this is the first half of an Ocean's 11 movie. It's getting the crew together. It's going from planet to planet, finding people, convincing them to help you fight against the Empire. As their visit to each of the planets is truncated, since Cora only needs to yell in their face about revenge or honor, or defeat a monster in order to convince them to join the squad and immediately fade into the background. Oh, that sounds terrible. So they're just going from planet to planet going, you have to help us. Or, I killed that monster. You have to join my crew. This is nonsense. Over on IndieWire, again, another reputable publication, David Ehrlich says, Rebel Moon is Seven Samurai meets Star Wars and Zack Snyder's dreadful Netflix epic. His long gestating space opera turns out to be his worst movie so far. Oh my God. Worse than, what was it, Sucker Punch? That movie is a nightmare of a movie. They make a good point that this idea of a sci-fi Seven Samurai, which is what we're basically hearing this movie is, again, it's collecting a bunch of different warriors from different places to unite against a opposing force, Imperial force. Obviously, you know, Japanese Imperial forces was the, I believe, the antagonist in Seven Samurai. Yeah, it's been done before. That is Star Wars. Why would you do that again? The exact same thing. Like, the original Star Wars is already kind of 7 samurai. There's less than 7 of them. So you decided to just take it a little bit farther and add a couple more guys to the group? Okay, fine. Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, terrible name, isn't the first time that Snyder has tried to build a movie from scratch, but the difference in scale between the Hot Topic Hell Cabaret he dreamed up for Sucker Punch, that's a good description of that, and the vast solar system of backstory required to support a franchisable new space opera is the difference between growing a chia pet in your childhood bedroom and going full Dr. Manhattan on Mars. You know what? It's a very good point. Trying to build up an entire sci-fi universe is a monumental task that takes a lot of any one of these sprawling universes. George Lucas kind of got lucky, okay? Where he was able to keep Star Wars very truncated. I'm not even going to say he got lucky. It's just he told a story in a bottle, okay? You saw one planet, you saw Tatooine, and you saw Yavin 4. You saw the Death Star. You knew the Empire was bad guys, but let's be clear, we didn't really dig into exactly what the Empire was or how they came to be. All we knew is they had an evil emperor and a henchman named Darth Vader. Lucas kept it concise, okay? The problem with what Snyder's doing here is when you go to 7 different planets, all with unique backstories, and the characters have different histories. They're all different tribes. I'm sure there'll be some friggin' aliens or droids or whatever else. Trying to do that all in the first movie, that's so much planning. Whereas if you just told a very straightforward, concise story, you can worry about building out the universe later. And you go, and in the next movie, we'll go to a whole different planet. We'll learn about that planet. This movie immediately starts off and is hitting people with so much exposition, so much. Well, here's the thing about this tribe, and here's the reason I know this person, and here's the reason the Empire did this here and there, blah, blah. It sounds like it's just too much. Again, he says Akira Kurosawa gives Snyder his basic narrative structure, which he almost immediately warps beyond recognition. Again, it's just apparently 7 samurai. And George Lucas supplies him with the raw materials needed to reskin everyone's favorite Star Wars characters, do a hyper-derivative matrix of fascist space Nazis and double-crossing bounty hunters. Snyder's stealing from everybody here. But he lacks the skill to establish meaningful relationships between the 5 zillion different elements he's borrowed from better films and lacks the imagination to inject even a single one of them with a life force of its own. What we get is a singularly torturous slog that tries and fails and fails and fails again for 134 minutes of agonizing tedium, only occasionally interrupted by a jolt of sadness for the wasted talent of everyone involved. It is the cinematic equivalent of an NFT. All right, guys. I'm going to say this guy wins the award. This is a long review here. There's a lot here. But in terms of just sheer cutting to the bone, really nailing down. I mean, look, does it really have to be just Star Wars? This is Luke Skywalker. It just is Luke Skywalker. Okay, farm girl on a farm planet needs to go fight the Empire. So you're just making, again, 7 Samurai, New Hope, whatever. And then here's your guy. I thought this was the Korn logo for a second. I'm like, does Korn exist in space? This doesn't look good. This is not a good looking movie. These characters look, and here's something I always say is like, this is the fake grittiness, the fake, when you see like oil rig workers or farmers or whatever, the dirt they're covered with, it's authentic. They've actually been out in the fields. This is a costume designer, took their cloak, rubbed it around, and, spray painted a little fake dirt on it, spray painted a little fake dirt on their pants. Okay, but here's the problem. All these people just took a shower. You can tell. The dirt is fake. And this always drives me nuts with sci-fi. You go, they're gritty, hardworking guys, scum of the earth. They live on desert planets and they're covered in filth. And you go, no, these guys just took a shower in their trailer and a makeup person teased their hair to look just right. One of the things I hate about some of these sci-fi movies, this fake grittiness. It's so obvious to me. Anyway, guys, Rebel Moon from Zach Snyder. I don't know where that poster went, but Part 1. Part 1, Rebel Moon. Who's excited for Part 1? When do we get is Part 2 happening? I don't have any idea. Part 2, The Scavenger, set to be released April 19th, 2024. Okay, great. So that's Rebel Moon. I have nothing else to say. 0%. What is going on in Hollywood? Hollywood? Did everyone just forget how to write? Like, it takes focus and dedication to get a 0%. To make it so not even a single person likes the movie. That's a fucking, like, incredible feat. To make something so bad that not even a single top critic could say, I actually kind of liked it. There was something to like. It's not perfect, but no, just 0% across the board. Ugh, we got more cool videos coming soon. Take care.